What's going on, Kick Squad? It's Eric. Today we're going to cover my highlights, my thoughts on it, what I would improve, what I could do better, and just overall my reaction on it now, knowing what I know. But if you guys haven't already seen my kicking journey, I'm going to link to it right here because it's just going to cover kind of what it took for me to get to the level I got to, which is Division I football at a scholarship level. So, without other things to talk about, without anything else, we're going to get right into the video. Just wanted to make sure you guys know that the book will be live by the time you guys see this. Check the link in the description to get my kicking book. It's going to talk about instructional stuff, mindset drills, professional kicker and punter techniques, and things that they did to get to the high level. But if there is one book that you could read for the remainder of your life and learn everything that you need to know about kicking, this would be the book. It's going to be a game changer in the kicking and punting space, so please check it out if you haven't already gotten it. Along with that, there's going to be a journal that you can track your performance with as well, so check that out in the description as well. But without all of the jibber jabber, we're going to get right into the video. All right, so I was a inconsistent junior year kicker where I had not the best technique. I was just a raw kicker who could just boot the ball. And it wasn't until I got trained by my mentor, Nick Gatto, that I had really developed a technique that I was confident in and I was able to work with. So what you'll see is this is the first 4 games of the season. The last half of the season, my coach, it was weird. He had like a shift mentally where he was like anti-special teams, where we didn't really do much. Like I had performed very well in the first 4 games, and then the rest of the season I was still like kicking and stuff, but I would rather just show you the highlights that we got a lot of film on. The rest are just like PATs and kickoffs, and it's like not a massive thing to talk about. So I just wanted to cover some of the kicks and some of the games that we played in, and I could actually talk about that. So as you can see, I had quite a few of like honors and statistics. It was I don't know what I was really doing when I was doing like the recruiting stuff at the time. I was just kind of sending my film out to different like companies that reached out to me, and I just went with like a company that I feel would do a good job with my video. Honestly, I would just do it myself next time. It's really not too difficult to like edit a video, whether you do it yourself or you just have someone that you get on like a website. You don't really need to go through like a recruiting website to get all this stuff. But a lot of people will try to tell you need to go through these websites. You don't really need to. You can hire someone to do it, or you can have it done yourself. It's actually not too difficult. So 6 out of 7 on field goals. I believe the one that was a miss was like a 46 yarder. I like barely hit it just outside the right upright. Like I was hitting the ball great that day, but I managed to like hook around the ball a little bit too much, and it had a weird flutter to it, so it went off to the right. But what can you do? And then my junior season going into senior year, I had finally started going to like camps and stuff. So this is the first time I'd really like started to pay attention to my statistics. I was just kicking field goals whenever I was able to, and just kind of like nonchalantly doing it. And then I developed a program going into senior year, which none of this is documented. I didn't really know what I was doing, so I just kind of threw some stats together for the guy to put on the video, and do it that way. So yeah, and the statistics that they have, I mean, they're decent, half decent. Like this is enough to maybe go like D2 or something. My senior year was the one that I really started to develop my skills and like do a lot better. So that's my stats. You guys can look at them, and they're all right. So honestly, I remember that exact kick. That was probably the best field goal I had all season, just because it was such a well-struck kick. It was like one of those perfect down the middle kicks that takes off really well, and it doesn't like flutter. And it felt great. It looked great. The technique I thought was really good at the time, at least. If we go back a little bit, I had a weird tendency to like, when I was set, I would like drop my left shoulder and have my right shoulder a little bit taller, and my feet were pretty close together whenever I was in my set position. If I could go back, I would change it from this to like be more upright with my shoulders and have my feet a little bit wider apart, mainly because I was trying to be more locked in. Like I love Blair Walsh's technique whenever he was kicking, and that was, I guess, my methodology is like, I'm gonna just be like Blair, whatever he does, I would do. And this is when he was on fire, so he was the guy I was trying to emulate the most. But I had a big tendency with like dropping my left shoulder at contact, and what that would do for me is I would get under the football a lot. Thankfully, I had a tee, so for me it worked out decently. But if I'm off the ground and I do the exact same thing and my shoulder comes down, it was even more exaggerated at contact, so I would end up hitting a really weird ball. So that wouldn't fly on the ground because the tee gives you a little bit more room for error. You know, if you do hit like low on the tee, you'll still hit a decent ball. But if you hit like the same exact way on the ground, you're going to catch a lot of ground, and you're going to hit a lot of turf, so it won't come off very clean. So I was really disciplined about hitting my plant spot when I was kicking in my senior year and making sure my like counter arm was really tall, and it was always, you know, pretty good in my favor for the whole season. And now this is a game that I was so focused on like leaning away from the football, and I was really trying to make sure that I would stay out on the ball because I was always dipping my shoulder down, and it typically meant that I was too close and like narrow to the football, or like too up and down on the football, so I had not a lot of room to really get some whip on the ball. So I was practicing this whole time, and this game at least, to get out with my body so I can get my foot in the right position. And these are the best field goals I was hitting all season, at least in the beginning, because that first clip was the first game we played. The second clip was the second game we played. So I was really fresh into like my technique. And I mean, as the season went on, I was still fine. It was just my best technique games were quite literally like the first 6. And then we just never kicked any field goals after. So it was like, whatever. I'm cool with the first 4 games being my main filmed games anyway. But yeah, my thinking here was let me get away from the ball so I'm not so up and down. And that was a very windy game where, I can't say very windy, but it was a really windy moment at that time where there was probably like a 15 to 20 mile an hour wind in my face. There really wasn't any flags blowing, so you can't tell, but the ball goes up, catches that wind, and just dies. I think it was like a 34 yarder. I struck it really well, but it just didn't go anywhere after it cleared the uprights. It was really weird. That was an ugly one. That was, I think I believe I hit the ground, or the snap was a little slower than it usually was, so the holder had a little bit harder time. So I tried to give him some more time to put it down, and I did not hit it clean, so it like barely squeaked over from wherever it was. But you know, points are points, and you know, knowing what I know now, I would just make sure to like keep my eyes on the contact spot a little bit longer and just trust the holder. You know, that's really all I can do. And this is actually one of those kicks that I was talking about where back to that game that I was doing really well. My lean here is really good, and the ball just pops off my foot. Yeah, so it was. I was feeling good that game. I did have a wind in my back, so I was able to drive the ball a lot better. But this is one of those games that like everything was making so much sense. Like everything clicked, you know, and the game was very successful. You know, I had a really good game this time because I was just very smooth and simple in my technique. So let's talk about this one. Okay, so this was a game where the returner that caught that ball, he was the guy that you don't ever want to kick to. The whole week leading up to the game, the coach was like, keep it away from number one. Keep it away from number one. He is going to University of Texas on a full ride scholarship. He is a dangerous, dangerous person to kick to. Do not kick it to him. So I'm like, cool, no problem. And I practice every single kick, kicking, deep right away from the returner that we had in the practice field. So I was super ready to come into the game and do our thing and whatever. So turns out we get a safety. I was back for a punt. The snap went way over my head, and I had no freaking chance. So I think I just kicked it out of bounds or kicked it out of the back of the end zone just to get it away. And that way we could, at least just give them 2 points. We kick off and then we just start from there, and then that's it. So we gave him the 2 points, kicking off from the 20, and my coach is like, you put everything you can into it, really just try to drive it, but keep it away from number one. Kick it on the hash or in the middle of the field or on the right side of the field, and that's it. But he kind of made it really complicated. He was like, kick it on the hash is really how he described it, but I was like, all right, no problem, we'll do that. So I kick it. And as you can tell, I stuttered in my steps and I got way under it. This little ball just went way up, and he was like a rabid dog, like with a juicy steak running to the football. He was excited to grab that. Thank God they cut this part because he actually ran that back for a touchdown. He caught it and just housed it on us. Like, I remember seeing distinctly, I was like ready in the pocket where like all the players are, and then out of nowhere this like 15-foot wide gap just opens up and he just barrels through. Nobody touches him and he scores, and he put it on his highlights. We're not going to talk about it anymore because it was rough. So this is where I had no clue what I was doing in punting. I was literally just a raw punter at this time. I had really honed in on my field goals. My punts were just something that I was just doing in games, and I wasn't really practicing much. So I was just kind of hoping for the best. So as you can tell, I was a very quick punter. I would just catch it and just go. And it actually worked out a lot of times, but sometimes since I didn't really know what I was doing, I was just getting lucky more often, and I was just strong enough to make a decent punt out of it. This is a decent one, but a lot of times I was really like hoping for the best, and it was always risky. But if anything, I would go back and just really hone in on my drop and just consistency with steps. But not a bad punt overall. It was a really weird slow spiral. I remember that one. So this is North Shore. This is at the time, they were still a really good football team, but it was that team that our coach always tried to play against because they thought we would like beat them, and that would give us a huge confidence boost. But the exact opposite happened, where we'd play them and they would win by 30, 40 points. This game, it was like 55-10 or something ridiculous. And whenever I went into punt, again, like the entire team could be starters in a Division I team. Like, they're just naturally built freaking behemoths of a player. So anybody you kick punt to, they're going to probably return it on you. So my thinking was, let me just punt it as high as possible and let our guys get there, and hopefully they don't return it. Like, to be honest, that wasn't a great punt, but he literally made something out of nothing. Just because they're so strong, we gave them 10 yards easy on that punt, and he just barreled right through all of us. It was freaking ridiculous. I'm going to be dead honest. I have no clue what the video guy was doing when he put this in there. It was supposed to be a surprise onside from a full approach to the right, which for me as a lefty is like the weirdest thing to ask your dude to do. Same thing as a righty kicker. If your coach was like, do an onside, surprise onside left, you're going to have to like really be finessed with it, because it's just not natural for your foot to do that and then it go off to the left and bounce. So for me, I had to like be really careful, and I tapped it and it just shot out of bounds. I don't know why he included it this year, but it's here for your enjoyment. I do remember this. This was the game that we talked about earlier where the guy ran it back on me. We had practiced sky kicks the entire time and throughout every day in practice because of that reason. And even then, we had no clue that half these guys are like also thoroughbred athletes who could go to Alabama and start no problem. So I had like 4 tackles or like 3 tackles this game. I actually had like 8 or 9 this season because, you know, I'm just built different. But of course, I had to make some plays, man. And these guys were good. So when I say tackle, I mean like I held him, he kind of stepped up out of bounds, so technically it's mine, and then the other guy came in and hit him. So, you know, whatever, take what you want from it, but I made the tackle. Built different. Go. I'm just saying, we're going to watch that again. But watch how fast that guy's body disappears. Can't really see anything. But I laid that dude out and got up. My eyes were cross-eyed. So, you know, I hit him hard. But it took me a minute to chill because I was hurting. But it looked cool on camera. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of the way this guy edited the video, but you know, I guess it got some kicks on film. To be honest, like that last one got tipped and it hit the upright and it went in. So like, I don't really know what he was trying to film or like get, but or what he was trying to like put on the actual highlight film, but whatever. Honestly, if I were to go back and redo the film myself, I would just do the biggest kicks first, like the longest field goals, the biggest kickoffs, tackles, big punts, whatever like your wow moment is in the beginning, and then I would sort of filter in like each category. So I would have biggest moments, like biggest wow factor, and then you throw in like a big field goal, or a couple more field goals, like consistency, you show it in your film where it's like, okay, this is 3 kicks now and it all looks the same, something like that. And then you throw in your kickoffs and then your punts or whatever. If you're a punter first, then your big punts, your other punts, maybe some holds if you do some holding, and just make it look attractive versus just like throwing random points in the actual film. You actually have like a theme with each part, so they can just skip around and see, okay, how are his kickoffs? They look good. How are his field goals? They look good. And then you're not having them like be all confused because it seemed like there was no consistency there. Granted, I didn't really know how this all works when I was younger, but yeah, definitely make a big wow factor in the beginning, and then kind of as you go, you're making it more organized and themed. You don't ever want to end on a kick hitting the upright or something or getting almost blocked. Like, you want to make sure there's a hook from start to finish. So like if someone were to watch it and skip around at any kick during the video, it needs to be something good. Don't ever try to put like a weird bad kick in there. Unless you don't have many kicks, then that's fine. Do what you can. Or if there aren't enough good kicks in the season, then just do some on your own with like running film. But nonetheless, I mean, I'm happy with the final product. It ended up getting me to a scholarship. You know, I would have done it differently myself. So I guess it's not all that bad, but I definitely would have done it differently if I could go back and do it myself. But hopefully you guys enjoy this. Again, real quick, the links in the description are for the book and the journals. If you guys want that, it is going to be available after this video comes out. But you know, you guys can always hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, at Kickers of Earth. At Kickers of Earth. Check me out there, and hopefully I will hear from you guys soon. Leave me a comment what you guys liked about this video, what you guys would do differently, any questions you guys have, and I will talk to you guys soon. All right? I don't know what that was, honestly. I was just doing a dance move that I thought was cool.